Welcome to Greg's Gun Channel. In this video, we're going to take a look at the Hi-Point HP-15. Before working on any firearm, we want to make sure it is free and clear of all ammunition. So the first thing we'll need to do is take the magazine out, make sure it is empty, and check the chamber. The magazine release is right here. Right there, that button. You simply push in on that button, and that releases the magazine. Take the magazine out. As you can see, it is free and clear. Open up the bolt, and you can see the chamber area is also free and clear. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. The AR-15 is primarily in two components. It has an upper receiver right here and a lower receiver right here. The upper and the lower are held together with two pins, the forward pin there and the rearward pin, and they are captive pins. So when you push the pin through, they will not come all the way out. I mean, they will if you really force them, but they're designed to stay retained into the lower and allow removal of the upper. Now, for field strip purposes, you really only need to remove the rear one, and that will allow the upper and the lower to pivot apart, and then you can remove the bolt. So I'll show you that real quick. So basically, you would just push in on this side here, just kind of push in. Sometimes they will stick kind of hard, so you might need something to kind of push that in. Once it's pushed in a little bit, it will stick out a little bit on this side, so you can kind of just grasp that and pull it out, and it'll pull out like that. And then once that's pulled apart, the upper will pivot on that front pin, and at this point you can unlock the charging handle and remove the bolt assembly, and you can take out the charging handle. Now, the upper itself can be completely removed by removing this pin. There again, you push in on this side, pull it out on that on this side, and at this point the upper will come completely off of the lower. So we'll take a look at the lower first. So this is our fire control assembly. This is the hammer right here. It is a hammer-fired firearm. Pulling the trigger will release the hammer, and then of course the hammer will go and fire the round. When the bolt comes back, it cocks the hammer back. The recoil spring is in the buffer tube, and this is the buffer right here. Of course, everything's black on black to make it really nice and easy to see. But that goes in and out of the buffer tube itself. It's held in place by a little pin right there that is also spring-loaded. So you can push down on that pin while pushing the buffer in, and that would allow you to then take the buffer out and the spring. There's not really any reason to do that unless for some reason something would break in there or you're wanting to upgrade something. These are, generally speaking, there's no reason to take that apart for cleaning purposes or anything. Everything else in the fire control assembly is retained by pins, so as far as general cleaning and maintenance goes, you do not need to disassemble this any farther. You have access to everything. Basically, you want to clean everything out, wipe it down, lubricate it. So there's that as far as the lower. The upper, this is as far as you would need to disassemble this. Basically, you have access to everything to clean it. So you'd want to clean the chamber area, the locking lugs. You see the little notches in there. That's what the locking lugs, the bolt, go into, and then when the bolt turns, it locks the bolt into the barrel extension there. So you can get access to everything to clean it out. So we'll take a look at the bolt and the bolt carrier assembly now. So a lot of people call this entire thing the bolt. This isn't really the bolt. This is the bolt carrier. The bolt is right here, and those teeth on the bolt are what engage in those notches in the extension. Now, as a general purpose or general rule, you don't need to disassemble this every time you go to clean the firearm. You can just wipe it all down, lubricate it. I've got a couple ARs. I've got thousands of rounds through that I've never disassembled the bolt and carrier assembly. However, disassembly is not difficult. So there's a couple different parts. You have the bolt itself. You have the cam pin, which is right in here, and that engages in a track in that upper. So as the bolt moves forward, it would engage in that, and that is what turns the bolt to lock it into place. This is what's called the gas key at the top, and the gases from that are tapped off of the barrel would flow through what's called the gas tube, and then would go into this gas key. And the gases go inside here, they go inside the bolt. The bolt actually acts like a piston, and a lot of people think that the bolt goes rearward from the gases hitting it, and it kind of does, but really what happens, the gases go in there, expand this out, so when it's in its locked position, it's like this. The gases go in, force this piston or the bolt out. It's got a piston, it's got gas rings and stuff in there, and when that flies forward, that drives the bolt carrier back, and then it unlocks it and pulls it out. So to disassemble this is held in place. The firing pin is right here, and the firing pin goes through the cam pin, through the bolt, and of course protrudes right there at the hole. This is your ejector, and this is the extractor right there. And when the hammer hits that firing pin, well, okay, let's put it in battery here first. The firing pin protrudes out of that hole right there. So to disassemble this, first thing you want to do is remove this pin here, and it looks like a little cotter type pin. It's actually a little spring, and that just pulls out like that. Once that's removed, you can remove the firing pin. The firing pin just slides out. There's the firing pin. Now the firing pin goes through that cam lock. So once that's out, you can turn that, and once that's turned, you can pull it out. Sometimes it's easier if you can get something to kind of reach in there, so it's difficult to grab with your fingertips sometimes. So there's the bolt cam pin. Once the bolt cam pin's removed, you can remove the actual bolt. Now the nice thing about all this is you can't reassemble it wrong. So your cam pin here, once this bolt is in the carrier, this pin would go through, and it goes in basically like that. And then the firing pin, goes through the middle here. So the firing pin holds the cam pin holds the bolt into the carrier. Now, why I say you can't put it together wrong is if you put the bolt in the wrong way, so it was like this, the hole for the cam pin and the cam pin itself is slightly tapered, so it will not go into that hole. It will only go in if it's facing the right way. So this right here, these are those gas rings. There's actually a couple different little rings there. There's 3 of them, and that's what seals the gases. The gases would come into the chamber in here through this hole, through the gas key, and then push against this little piston section here, and then that's what pushes this back and forth for operation. So reassembly is just the opposite. And like I said, you can't put it in wrong. So I'm not even sure which way I'm facing here. So once you have it in there, you just line up the hole. So it's lined up there, and you put your pin in. If the pin goes in, it's the right way. You need to turn it so it's like this, so it's long ways this way. Then you can put your firing pin in. There again, if the firing pin doesn't go in, it's not assembled right. So once your firing pin's in, then you can put your final pin in here, and that pushes in, and your bolt's reassembled. So to reassemble the upper, first you would put your charging handle. The charging handle has these little sections that come out. They lock in. Probably never be able to get it to where you can see this. There's a little recess right there, and that's where those teeth have to go. So to go in like that, you see those little teeth there? They only go in the one way. And then once that's in, you can slide it forward. Once that's slid forward just a tiny bit, you put your gas key into that channel, like so. And then you push everything forward and lock the charging handle in. And your upper is now assembled. You'd put the upper onto the lower, line up that front pin, and the rear. You can put it all together if you want, all at once. You will need to push back. It'll be pushing against that buffer spring, so you need to push the upper back to the receiver. You can push the pins through, and you are reassembled. I hope that this information is of value, and if you liked the video, I would ask that you hit the like button and subscribe if you want to continue to see more like it. And as always, until next time, stay safe.